couple of years ago, when I actually know you from Mary, from a networking real estate event. And I know you at that time. Mary is a realtor, and I didn't know you at that time, but you are a real estate investor. But why don't you tell me about yourself as a real estate investor, who you are, where you're from, what's your background, Terry?
Well, my background is basically carpenter. I'm a Red Seal carpenter. I took my apprenticeship, I think, in 1969 to 71, long ago. You don't even know how far ago that was.
Before Howard was born.
Yeah.
So, I was minus. Is it 61? You said?
Well, it would have been 69 to 71.
So yeah, I was minus 9 years old.
Barely a glint.
Yeah. So I started my carpenter apprenticeship right out of high school. Went up north in Ontario and I worked 4 years on one job, and I did my whole carpenter apprenticeship on one job.
And then you become a millionaire right after that?
I wish. So then I started my own business, and I was pretty much in my own construction business all the time after that. So I had up to 40 employees. We bought raw land, put in roads, water, sewer in subdivisions, built all the houses, ended up being a third owner of a real estate company that we sold all of our own houses, and then we started doing property management on light commercial, and did a lot of developing and land developing at that point.
What's the time frame we're talking about at that time? And when you start doing all this development and have 40 employees working for you, what's the time we're talking about?
Yeah, that probably might have been 20 years after, when I had 40 employees. So a lot of stuff I was only doing 2 or 3 guys for years. We were only small, 2 or 3 guys. And then later on, I ended up getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it just got kind of crazy. So at one point I retired, and I bought a resort, fishing and hunting resort, and I was still doing construction on the side, building log houses and custom homes in an area called Lake of the Woods, Ontario. It's a well-known fishing and hunting area, vacationing area. Like, we were building cottages that were $1.5 million on islands, and private cottages that people only came for 2 weeks to stay in, you know, and they called them their summer cottage, but they were really, really nice houses. So, but
that's how you met Mary, right?
Yeah, I met Mary in the same town. She actually had a fishing and hunting resort too. And one of the buildings I bought for income property, I put in a post office and a bank into it, and she was the postmaster at that time. So that's how she was working in one of the buildings that I owned. So, and then I just knew her for quite a while. Then I ended up leaving that town. I went to Edmonton, Alberta, and she ended up leaving that town too, and she ended up going to Edmonton, Alberta. Her sister lived up near there, so that's how we always kept in touch. So she went through a marriage breakup, and I went through a marriage breakup, and then she lassoed me. But I've always been in the construction field with one hand and one foot all the time. That's what I like doing, and I really know it well. So even though I'm still doing real estate investing now, I'm always doing, you know, flips and renos and whatever. I don't do any of it myself anymore, but I have people that crews that work for me that do all the work now. So
I know you have up and down, right, Terry? From, you know, early discussion, I know that you have up and down.
Yeah.
Tell me about that up and down, and tell me how important it is for you as a person, as a businessman.
Up and down financially, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You know, things you get going and it just seems like you can't do anything wrong. So you go and you're making money hand over fist, and then you start getting a little bit sloppy maybe, and you start taking some chances. And 2008, 2009, when the American economy went down, I had a bunch of stuff all tied up um, in American areas. And when the American economy went down, that basically took me down with it. So I, I
Before
made,
that, you were a millionaire, Terry,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And then you put you down.
I was a millionaire. And when that economy went down, I probably lost over $1 million in 2 or 3 months. It just killed me. So ended up, I kept surviving for a while, and it just took all the spare cash that I had and everything I had to try to survive. And in the end, I ended up in bankruptcy. So, one of the things you do learn, like it took me 20 years to become a millionaire the first time. The second time, I did it in 5 years.
Tell me about
So,
that. Tell me how you do it in 5 years, and how can you do it in 5 years?
I knew all the steps I needed to do, so I didn't have to learn anything at that point. I knew what kind of people I wanted to be in touch with. I knew what kind of properties I wanted to buy. So I pretty much knew everything. The only thing was, when you're bankrupt, like, you can't go get a bank mortgage, you can't get credit, you can't get anything in that sort of way. But like I knew from before, I could contact people and start joint venturing with them. So a lot of people that I had known knew what I could do. They already had um, confidence in myself, and they were confident that I could make them money as well as myself. So it wasn't exactly that hard to get some joint venture partners. So, I just went out, I looked for some good projects to do, found some good deals. I already had people that I could contact. Some of them went in them, some of them didn't. But
Hmm.
anyway, so we ended up getting some deals done, and it wasn't that hard to recover from a bankruptcy. Like, if I didn't know anything and I just lost everything, that's hard to recover from, because that sticks on you for 7 years. So the way my strategies were now, I could be bankrupt one day and the next day I can go buy property. So
Now,
it's all strategy and how you're going to do things. So I knew all that already, so I was lucky. But so, for all the
lucky in
years.
20 years in the making, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Because
So
because you have what you're saying, that you have the connections, you have the skills, and you know the steps, step by step, what you have to do the property, because you learned it from the last 20 years. And when 5 years, when you come back, then you just reapply, the skills, the knowledge, and the steps and the connections, and because of the 20 years, it make it much quicker to become a millionaire again, many times, right?
yep, yeah. So it just makes it so much easier. But I took a lot of real estate training. I spent quite a bit of money on learning how to do these things, and it was a benefit then. But the real benefit was after everything crashed. That's when I knew what I had to do right from that day on, and I had already learned it. So if I hadn't have spent the money previously and learned all these things, I would have been in big trouble.
Tell me about the real estate training you talked about. Obviously, you talked about some course and training, but tell me more about that.
Yeah, no, I took some courses. This is now 15, 20 years ago. So I think I spent around $30,000 at that time, which is more than even it is now. So, I took training in Canada. I took some training in the US, and I just learned and learned and learned as much as I could. So, it it just totally saved my life in the end, because if I had no training and you're just still trying to figure it out on your own with no money and you're bankrupt, you would never ever be able to do it.
Because of the training that you did previously. Because like
Yes.
if you're gonna do it, let's say that I don't know how old were you, like Harry, when you during 2008, probably around 50 years old. With that, is it around that time? Like it's probably way harder, right, to actually recover.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was around 48, I guess. And yeah, oh yeah, it's just a huge thing to recover from.
I want to ask you another thing. Is you so they mentioned about connections. I want you to touch on and tell me is how important it is, being in a circle. Like if we usually network with certain group of people, when we do business. Tell me about on that. I want to know what is the close 10 people that you have and what is the characteristic, and what if you kind of share for people who may not be millionaire right now. Like if you, like for example, you mentioned about the connections. Because of connection, you're able to rebound quickly. Tell me about like, the closest 10 people that you are right now to help you to become successful again.
Yeah, the closest 10 people that I am in contact with all the time and I deal with and talk to, and I just don't deal with them all, but I know them like family. They're all millionaires and multimillionaires. So, it comes down to the same old story. You are who you hang out with. So even when I had gone bankrupt, I'm still hanging out with millionaires. So I wasn't, I didn't come quite down to being homeless, but I think pretty close a couple of times. But, I was, almost down and out, and I could still throw on my suit and go and hang out with millionaires. So if that's what you want to be, you want to hang out with the people you want to be like. So that's the famous old story, hang out, you are who you hang with. So even though, yeah, you don't have a lot of cash floating around, or sometimes we all, even though we are millionaires, we have millions of dollars of the property and investments, but we don't always have $1 million cash in our pocket. So you just, you got to follow the people that know what they're doing. You got to follow the people that you want to be like, and that's who you hang out with.
That's a really good point, because I find it the same as well for myself. Is before I becomes a millionaire, I figured out that I have a lot of friends that is not where I want to be in life.
Right.
I have to intentionally. It's hard at the beginning, actually. I have to intentionally. Sort of like, it sounds bad, but it's true. You have to change your friends.
Yeah.
You have to change your friends, because not all the friends you grow up with wants to be where you want to be financially, right? I'm sure you share that. If the people who are listening or watching this video, they're not millionaire like yourself is right now, give me 5 things that you do, either daily or consistently, to keep you, you were a millionaire, and then, you go bankrupt and you become a millionaire again. So I think I just lost you, Terry. Just gonna wait. So, Terry, so obviously, you were a millionaire and then you become bankrupt. Did it again.
Still okay.
Okay.
Can't believe nobody's phoned me all day now. Everybody's phoning me.
Okay, let's do it quick. So you were a millionaire, and then the economy go down, and then you were bankrupt, and then you were back up again. So you credit, big part is hanging around the people with the right mindset, with the right with the right thinking. So I think that's really important. But I want to get to next part is, if there's one biggest secret of success that you're going to share people, that make you to become millionaire and then go down and then come back again. If I allowed you to only select one thing, of course you live long enough, then you reflect on it. What would that one thing? If you only have one choice, one thing.
If I only had one choice, to get to where I want to go, I would become a master of joint venture partnering. And that's basically what I've done. So I'm joint venture partner with just about every deal that I do. I split all my profits 50-50. I make myself $1 million and I make my joint venture partners $1 million also. I'm a public speaker now and I'm helping people get to where they want to go. And one of the topics that I speak about is how I made myself $1.1 million and my partners another $1.1 million in 10 months. So this is one of the topics and one of the things that people really like to hear about is how you can possibly do that. I bought $4.5 million of the property, made me and my partner both $1 million each in 10 months. And people that don't know this business can't really conceive how you ever did that. But once you know how to do it, you know how to get the partners, the properties, and the money, it's not really that hard.
It's really good because you mentioned that. Basically what you're saying that now you become you can become an expert in real estate, but now you also open up yourself to be partnering with people who might not know how to do it, who doesn't have 30 years or 40 years of experience as you do, who may not have the experience going up and down and come back again. If they want to reach out to you, so how can they access you? How they can contact you, Terry?
The best way is through telephone, I guess. It'd be
What's your phone number?
1 area code 204-451-0393.
And what's your website?
The website is being worked on. Apparently, I just heard. You know what?
No problem. What I would do is on the post, I would put your contact information that under the post.
Okay. The website we're using is terrystallwood.com.
terrystallwood.com.
Yeah.
TERRYSTALLWOOD.com.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, I want to take the time to thank you very much for your time, Terry, and you're inspirational because you have not only made yourself millionaire once but twice, but also when you go bankrupt and come back again. I think it's going to be really motivational people who might think that they don't have all the money in the world, might think that it's like, you know, they don't have good background, good education and all that. You prove it not only once but twice. So I'm going to share with your permission, of course, to people who want to become millionaire like yourself and learn it. But more importantly, if they want to do it and maybe don't have the knowledge of $30,000 in a bank account, which you spent like 30 years ago, and maybe they can learn from someone or partner with you yourself to actually do it yourself. Would you agree?
Yep. Oh yeah, no problem.
Well, I just want to thanks again for your time, and thank you for sharing your secret with us. And I just want to let you know you're the number one millionaire on the Millionaire interviewing millionaire on video. So you're the number one, Terry.
Oh, right on. It's always good. Fun. I thought you were number one, Howard.
It's good to be number one. Yes. Thank you again, Terry. And
okay.
Stay tuned. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
Talk to you again. Bye.
Talk to you again. Bye-bye.